have here Ashok and Nancy with me. And let's see. Hello, hello. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I really look forward to this every month, just sitting here talking about different things, learning from both of you, Ashok and Nancy. And how has your day been and your month? What's happening in your lives?
My day and month have been great. What's happening in my life? There's so much. It's all great, but there's so much. I delivered my first keynote earlier in the month. So that was fantastic. Thank you. It's exhilarating and I don't like to use the word addictive, but it creates a craving for sure. And then on Friday, my parents arrived for 10 days and it's been it was November 2019 that I last saw them. So I am very much looking forward to all of that. And so, yes, I'm great.
Wonderful. What about you, Ashok? I know there are wonderful things happening in your life, and now your wife is back too. So you're radiating again?
Yeah, my wife is back. She's able to see our grandson and our daughter who live overseas. And I think it's interesting because the pandemic has taught me a lot of things about the importance of not just making connections, but making those connections connect.
Yeah.
And we can have someone in our life, but can we have someone in our life? And that's the difference between someone being on versus
maybe
in.
Over the things.
Sometimes we don't realize that so much of it is unnecessary. And I was recently reading something in my horoscope, and my horoscope said that Cancerians don't let go of grudges easily. So that hit a mark, and I was like, okay. I was going through this thing with a friend of mine, and I was like, okay, this has gone on long enough, and because of what I read, and I became aware of this fault in my, I guess, personality, I became mindful, and I purposefully made this choice that, you know what, I'm going to let go of it. And I switched my mindset, and I said, just shrug it off. You know what? Stop carrying this with you and just let it go. And that is, I did let it go, and I choose to let it go. And
I have a couple of different pieces, but I truly believe that, revenge and anger, holding on to that is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, that famous quote, right? And I truly believe it, because it poisons ourselves. That negativity becomes our mindset, and that propels what happens in our lives and our view and our perspective of things. And for me, from a very young age, people are always surprised that I didn't hate my grandfather. I never hated him. My survival meant I couldn't stay in that space. And so I just always have had that kind of mindset of, even in my divorce, I'll see things going on with my ex-husband or hear something going on. And while I might have an initial because it was something that we had fought about, let's say, throughout our marriage, but I stopped myself, because the reality is, one of the reasons I left was because neither of us was reaching our highest potential. Neither of us was shining to our brightest. And so when I see him doing well or hear about him doing well, I'm actually happy. And it affirms my choice. It reminds me that why I went through all of it, and that it's some validation that it was the right choice. And so I do know also from going through it that anger is safer than vulnerability. So I'm not a big vengeful person. My dad is the most forgiving person on the planet, and I've learned from him because he's a happy guy. He does not hold those things. But I certainly had anger as a cover for my vulnerability, my places of hurt and sadness, because anger feels stronger. And I think vengeance also has that kind of tone to it, where it feels strong and you are on a mission and you've got a purpose. And I think for a lot of people that keeps them going. I know in times in my life that Raquel, my best friend, was intimidated by me when she first met me, because I was in anger. I had that aura around me. That's the vibe I gave off. But
How did
ultimately,
you change that, Nancy? How did you get out of that vibe of that anger? How did you purposefully work on changing your energy? What did you do?
I purposely worked on it, but honestly, what was the catalyst for it was my college boyfriend. And I realized that because I had all this anger and was unwilling to be vulnerable, I had sacrificed a relationship that was really meaningful to me. And I just didn't want that to be the way things went time after time. It's just, here's this guy that I loved, and I just was unable at the time to be vulnerable with him. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to step into that space. So I realized that was something I was going to need to learn to be able to build the life that I was fighting for.
Well, absolutely want to
right.
see you happy.
And you are a role model to your children. And being healthy and being your full self and your full authentic self is a much better role model than anything other than that. And I hope you agree with that.
Absolutely. And I mean, whenever we are having our conversations, we did not talk about anything that I posted that we were going to talk about, and which is perfectly fine. I just need to go in there and edit it a bit, a little bit. Whoever watches can listen to our life story, and if they don't, then well.
Then they'll catch a different episode. It's fine.
So I think we are almost coming to an end.
I got to hop. So
of an hour. So thank you guys as always for being here, and enjoy your evening. And until next time.